Excellent. So thank you so much for joining. I know that many of you are pretty tired now, but I hope that this information I'm going to present will be useful for you, or at least some ideas like practical tasks that I'm going to talk about. So today today I have the mission, I guess, to do some kind of summing up, because my workshop wasn't the first one and you have listened to many good ideas about this. And I would tell that media literacy and the ideas that can be used during ESL classrooms, they are very important. And I would like to start with my presentation. So I'm going to share the screen. I think I will do this way. So as I will share the desktop, because I have embedded videos, and I don't want to jump so you'll see what's going on my computer. So I would like to start with this one. Oksana has told about the topic, and we are talking about main ideas, or not the main ideas, but basic ways to integrate. How is it possible to integrate? I will try to do this way. And I would like to start with the following, some information about one minute about myself and why I come up with the idea of media literacy. I think that my trip started with being a course facilitator when we were listening to, we had the training as facilitators and trainers at a very verified course on media literacy. And when I brought it back to my school, because I'm a teacher in secondary school in Zhytomyr, I saw a great feedback of my students, and I understood that this is the very important topic to do. And after this, I was offered to apply for Fulbright T media literacy, and I became one of the finalists of April-May cohort. And we there in Kent State University, we studied basics of media literacy, how to teach media literacy, what approaches to take, and so on. I wouldn't say that it was some kind of new information. So those who want to take part, who want to apply to Fulbright T media literacy, I would tell that you don't need to be in the know of everything. So if you want to apply, you need to be motivated, but there is no need to there is no need to learn all the things, because when you come there, you may face some issues that were already known to you. So, but if they are, that's okay, because you can develop some more ideas. As it happened to me and my partner, who were in April-May, so spring 2021, we worked on our project. So it was when we had the final projects, we decided to develop two ideas, not one, but two ideas. She was having kind of extracurricular or a club for teachers to develop media literacy skills, and I was doing kind of training for teachers, ESL teachers in my hometown. And I have been working during, starting with September, once a month, we had webinars with people who decided to train, and we were working on this. So people have said about the media literacy. I'm not going to repeat this one, because the presentation started to be made in January 2022. That's why it's not so topical. We define it, is ability to assess, analyze, evaluate, and produce communication in a variety of forms. Media literacy usually refers to mass media messages, which are communicated through visuals, language, and sound that are produced for a remote mass audience. Why it is important for us? Because the students we teach, they are in this media world, so they can use social media, they can use different media, and sometimes they even don't understand that media influence them. So it can be, I'm not sure, we had, for example, after this, I will be like jumping from one point to the other, but still, because I'm going to talk about also about media literacy camp, which we conducted last year with my colleagues, and it was very successful. So we had the model which worked, and we created many things, many good things, many good ideas. And when we were talking with our students, I think that like traditional print-based media, books, newspapers, and magazines, and so on, like many of the students, our target audience were students of 7th and 8th grades, and they were like not interested in the printed media at all. Of course, for classrooms, even for online classrooms, you may use traditional media, but usually they are more interested in the use of audiovisual media, like computer games. We had a short-term project in which we were talking about the influence, the impact of online chatting communication when students are playing computer games, and is it possible to manipulate by their opinion when even they are playing and they are relaxed, and what's going on. Of course, the use of internet, the blogs, and some kind, for example, many of them use wikis for getting the information, and they often believe that, for example, Wikipedia is the reliable source. So these all ideas can be discussed, and you can come up to some conclusion with your students. Also, many students like to do recorded, like work with recorded music, billboards, different signs. Sometimes it can be not just visuals, but for example, QR codes, which also come to the media, like these are, the task can be used as well. And we can even work with the package labels or at different forms of advertising, and as a form, advertising as a form of media, how it influences their opinion, like forming their opinion. And of course, in the classroom, it may be textbook, posters, and maps. So what the first message I would like to say, like not about like the historic point, that in the United States, media literacy education, it began in 1970s. So you see that it began long time ago, like 50 years. And we, as teachers of ESL teachers, we shouldn't be frustrated now that something like it doesn't work with our students. We are lacking some knowledge, we are lacking some tasks, and so on. So they have gone a long process, and they created the patterns which work. So they started with so-called bad media content because they were fighting this bad content. And usually this, like the initiative historically, it was aimed at parents, yes, but now it is actually aimed at schools and teachers. And when I observed one of the lessons on ICT plus media literacy in 5th grade, so the students of 5th grade, which is considered to be the end of primary school in the USA, they were working on media literacy projects. Yes, they were small, they had the print, their handouts, and there was not much research to be done, but still the object of media, I mean, building media literacy skills the target came from parents to schools and teachers, like, and students. I think, like, to me, is closer the concept of weaving media literacy training into the curriculum, because Ukrainian curriculum is quite stable and it's difficult to do that. And if you think about like we need to cover some topics and so on, and it's difficult to put something inside of these topics. So I think that if you know or if you are aware of some ideas, I mean, like some kind of media literacy skills can be in warm-up or when you finish the lesson, or somewhere in between, like 5 or 7 minutes of the lesson. I understand that it's quite a big time, like much time when you have, for example, 40 minutes lesson, but still, if you throughout the year, school year, you'll be implementing this. So I believe that in the end of the school year, your students will have quite good media literacy skills, and this is a huge complex of skills. It's about the credibility of the source and many other things. So, and the purpose of media literacy education, like general one, is to help students develop the habits of inquiry. So they should ask questions, not just accept the piece of information they get in already like ready-made. They should ask, why is it created, who created it, why, and so on. So this is the general and this is a historic note. And like, if we come to the conclusion, I would say that we shouldn't be frustrated, because we just have started with these even like 3-4 years ago, like the idea of media literacy education, and we have much time ahead, and we can develop our own system in which way we are going to teach media literacy. Is it going to be a separate course, or can it be weaved into any English classroom, and how to do that? So I will show the weaving of media literacy in the form of this media literacy camp, with which which was conducted last year. So the first, if I'm the presentation was named 12 steps or 12 waves. So I'm going to talk about the general ones, which are we have practiced, general observation, critical thinking. So there was a presentation about that. I'm not going to repeat this one. Analysis and perspective taken and communication. So with the help, when we teach or form media literacy skills, we can teach students to routinely ask the questions. So like form this habit when they want to ask the question, not just where I saw this media message, but who created it, how it was constructed, and what is the source of it, what is the impact of this media. So it's great when students put these questions and they do this one. Also, it will help to foster communication skills and creativity by encouraging somebody is coming just a second, I'll put it down. The production of media messages about the topic. If you know that in this topic it's quite difficult to create maybe some kind of media messages, it would be a good idea to talk to your students, because they may come up with some ideas. For example, if even the topic is like the weather and it is 5th graders, you can ask them like about the weather forecast, for example, do they watch it? And so if not, what impact it has, and so on. One more thing is, when the first way we discuss, it's about being flexible in assignments. It's quite difficult to be flexible in assignments if you don't want to come away from the curriculum, but still, from time to time, we can allow our students to choose what formats or in which formats media, like the most effective for them or the most interesting for them, a media format they can create, and the information that is required. We require the task and they choose. Some students can make the video, some can make the post. So there should be maybe at least 2 or 3 ideas about the media formats that are effective for them. It can be the poster as well, but if you like give them 5 or 6, I think there will be a mess, because still we should give some like limits, restrictions to that. So the first, not the question, but I would like you to being flexible in assignments. So we have Lino board with your idea, like the ideas. What is your favorite assignment? Can you write? I'm going to do this one. Just a second, I will come out from the, no. 1 sec. I will stop share for the second, and I will do this one. I will send you the link to the Lino board, and if you, so here in the board, can you comment of your favorite assignment task? Maybe not just we are thinking about media literacy skills, but any assignments you like to do with your students, and can you write why do you like to do with your students? I can share the screen again, but with the Olena board if you want, so we could see your ideas. Debate, okay. A debate in like this is the introduction of the topic, or it's the when you doing the summing up or brainstorming the ideas? On what stage of learning the topic do you use the debate?
I usually use debate by the end of the topic, because once we have become familiar with certain things, it's easy to identify people, in favor or against a situation. However, debate can be as just a skill when the students are taught to prove a certain point of view, just as a piece of oratory, just for the sake of the language. Sometimes it even like, we actually throw the dice or cast lots, like who's going to be in favor or who's going to be against, because once they are a part of the team, they have to support the side which they have chosen, right, or which happened to be theirs. So it's fun and students like it.
Okay, one more question, Oksana. Do you give them, for example, do you assign them to choose the site, or they can choose themselves, because it's like different things?
Well, it all started as a part of the project we've been doing for years already. It's called the World Scholars Cup, and there is an international competition. We study the curriculum, and one of the events means debating, which you can actually implement during your classes, like with usual textbook. However, we learn the structure because there are usually, the format we have, there are 3 students for and 3 students against, and they speak one after another. So there is a procedure like to follow the previous speaker, to refute the argument, and we learn how to do that. But if I start asking them, would you like to be in favor or would you like to be against, we will never come to a conclusion. So there is a website called Cast Lots. And I'm saying, like, you are team number 1, you are team number 2. Now I'm gonna cast lots, and the number of the team which comes out is gonna be affirmative, which makes the other one negative. This is what we do, because otherwise it creates lots of disagreement.
Yeah. Very often students don't in debate, they don't want to take sides, because if you take the side, you need to prove you're right or you're wrong. That's
and this is like the critical thinking thing, when you have to pick up the ideas which you need, basically.
Yeah. And I agree with you that even when we work with media literacy skills, and if they are weaving into our classroom, debate is a good idea. Of course, maybe not on initial stage, but still debates are a great idea, because it's not just about the media literacy, but it's about like higher level skills which are formed, evaluating, listening to the opinion of others, and so on. Any other ideas? Who likes other assignments? Like maybe some kind of project work or something else, or who likes something different?
May I say?
Yeah, sure.
Each year we have competitions, kind of long-term projects. This year, for the second year students, it was an interactive poster on the topic the Internet of Things. But students had to use a particular app, ThinkLink. So it was time consuming and kind of challenging for students, but I mean technically. But we have some of the wonderful, interactive posters, and the students recorded their voices. That is what was especially, valuable.
Have you heard about the voice thread? I'm not sure, voice thread. It was .com, something like that. I'm not sure. Like this one, the idea also is to like, there is the idea offered and then students give their response and they can listen to the previous response. So it's quite interesting. I'm not sure if it has many features like free of charge, because when we were in States and when we were working with our professors, one of them used it, like he used the paid version, and he said it was quite successful, especially with the start of pandemic, because students were losing their communicative skills. They were losing this like being a leader or starting the discussion. So they didn't want to do that, and they were worried about how to do that. He said like it was going like a snowball. So with every new months, more and more students, it was difficult for them to start talking, to start discussing something. And this like voice thread, it was a great idea, because like you feel not confident, but you sit at home and you read something, you comment, and the others may listen. So if you haven't heard, you can check. I think that even the free of charge version can give some opportunity to do that as well. So it was about the why I said like I will proceed with sharing the screen. Okay, so it was, so the first one, it was like general one, as we are coming to key question to ask when analyzing media messages, of course. I think this one, like the first way, it was, it can be employed even in the primary school or with very easy tasks, because the idea of forming media literacy skills, it has the variety, it has tons of ideas how to do that, and we shouldn't be frustrated like how to use all of them. There is no need to use all of them. So you may listen to 100 ideas and choose 2 which will work for you. It's okay. You don't need to be like a squid and doing this and this and not finishing anything. So if one activity doesn't fit to your students, and it doesn't matter what age they are, that's okay. So you may jump to the other one, and when analyzing, for example, there is a general approach about analyzing media messages. So, and this approach says that we need to think when your students have some basic media literacy skills. I will do this one, like it's better. You may talk with them about, or if you have a spare lesson to discuss it, media messages can be analyzed. The first one about authorships, or who made this message, and who is it made for, like the purpose, and the economics is called who paid for it, yeah, who was the source of it, and what's the idea behind it. Some of them just promoting something, some of them it's about the reputation of the companies, and maybe they are selling some goods and so on. It's a good idea for the start of the long process of forming media literacy skills, because if we present some tasks to our students all the time, like they may be overwhelmed with the content, with the quantity of information. That's why I don't think you may choose like step by step, very like so-called baby steps. It can be, and we need to keep it simple. You may choose when analyzing, you can remember that there are 4 points when analyzing media message, but it doesn't mean you need to talk about these 4 points at the same time. So one time you can choose this specific point, then you can choose the other one. So except the authorship, it's about techniques and content. So what messages are conveyed and what ideas or values, points of view are avert or implied. And very interesting idea when we did the camp, it was about, for example, we presented some social enterprise and what is left out of the message that might be important to know. So what was left out and why some of the companies left this information. The context and credibility, it's a completely different thing about the content and credibility of media messages. So when was it made for, and where or how was it shared with the public? So how did your students find out about it? So these are the key questions to ask. But I repeat, there is no need to put all 4 these key questions. You may give some piece of media message, or it can be the video or printed media or newspapers. Very often teachers, Ukrainian teachers, ESL teachers, they teach media literacy skills. Many of my colleagues, they love working with, for example, ads or infomercials or articles. And when we start talking and I ask, like, do you teach your students media literacy skills? They say, no, we don't. And I say, well, why not? And then when they start talking like what they are doing in the lessons, I say, you are doing it already. So it doesn't mean you are far somewhere, like you are doing it already, but these are like about putting points. So students could come out of this, outside the box, and analyze what information is given to them. Also very often, and people who like start working with media literacy, there are many tasks done about, is it fact, opinion, or something else? Yeah, so a media message, what is it? And how credible is the source? Could we trust the source of information? Could we trust even the experts? Because we have lots of experts now in different spheres, and very often it's difficult to understand if it's a good idea to trust the expert. And about the audience and impact, the 4th key question when we analyze media message, it's about how different people interpret things differently, because every person has the background based on which he or she analyzes this message. And one more question, who might be harmed by it? Very often media messages in the form of misinformation, disinformation, they bring harm. So they are not good for. That's one of the tasks of the teacher, to show that very often media messages are harmful for those who see them and who consume them. So this one. And the second way of if we are talking about a new topic and how to stimulate interest in the new topic when we teach media literacy, like taking into account the media literacy, and not all the students, so maybe if they are newbies or the students who start working with some kind of media messages, not all of them can do a media search. So if they can't do it, so you should evaluate the skills of your students by yourself. So if they are not ready to do it, you can do it. It can be a guided media search. So about the new topic, for example, if we will be talking about Ukraine or economics of Ukraine. So I will assign my students to, like, I will divide this task. For example, one student is looking for video clips, for example, working with YouTube. The other is maybe looking for some articles. The other is maybe analyzing some tweets of people who work with like economists and so on. Maybe even reading some short information somewhere from the blogs and etc. So if your students are not ready to do a media research, like full one on some topic, the new one, it can be divided. So they can do short things, and they can be divided into, and we don't need to restrict them, like about if students interested in working with video, so why not give the chance to do that? I would like to show you, so the rest you can read, and I would like to show you a short video. Very often I use short videos, which sometimes my students say, it's not connected with the topic. You said the topic is this one. And I'm trying to give them a hint or ask them how they could use this video and how it may be connected with the topic. For example, we are going to watch a short video, and I would like to ask you, how can it be used teaching media literacy? In which way to approach it. So we could teach media literacy and or critical thinking. And then I'm going to talk a little bit about the idea of experts. So I'm going to do this. Stop share. Let's do this way. I will start share, but this way, like the desktop. No, not this. I will try to do it quick. I'm sorry for using the this way because my laptop, it has a different program, so I need to use it because the presentation was created in online. That's why. So let's watch this video.
There is no sound.
Пані Олено, так, якщо можна, будь ласка, немає звуку.
No sound?
Так, коли натискаєте демонстрацію екрану, там є кнопочка така «Поділитися звуком». Знизу. Можна зупинити і потім ще раз натиснути демонстрацію екрану, і там з'явиться.
Так, stop share. Це advanced options. Так, share і...
Так, і там знизу повинно бути таке місце для галочки, щоб поставити «Поділитися звуком». Зліва, знизу. Ні, немає.
Так вы сначала экраном должны поделиться.
Так.
Натискає демонстрацію, і потім з'являється таке віконечко. Ми ще його не бачимо, а вона його бачить. І там має бути «Поділитися звуком».
Як computer audio, да?
Так.
Угу. Зараз. Зараз одну секундочку. Так.
Угу. Тепер ми бачимо, що ви транслюєте звук, і можна, я думаю, вмикати екран.
Угу. Я не впевнена, що воно перейде так.
Ми спробуємо, давайте.
Так. Не робиться в мене так, Оксан.
Угу. Так, це було...
У мене стрибає або I share desktop, або якщо буде share desktop, і я розумію, advanced, але у мене або slides, або computer audio.
А якщо просто екраном поділитись не слайдами, а просто екраном?
Хорошо. І зараз ділюсь екраном.
Так. Угу.
Так, якщо... Є звук?
Є.
Great.
Так, і на весь екран можете зробити.
Є.
Це є. Заходимо.
Okay, so we have discussed with my students when I showed them, I told to comment on this, like, this is the Earth from the new perspective. And what do you think about the topic? What kind of topic we were studying and why did I show them this video? Very often, by the way, I try to use this video kind of video clip without any comments or just it's so they could fill them in with the context. So what do you think about the topic we were talking?
Well,
Any
maybe
ideas
you,
about the topic?
yes, maybe you were discussing some different perspective of something,
Okay.
showing Earth like that.
It wasn't about perspective, but let it be. So it was about, yeah, Irina.
Sometimes maybe I think that it's for me. I think that maybe if I would have a Twitter, I would like to discuss the problem about environment, ecological problems, because Earth is so small and we have so many wars and so many catastrophes and disasters, and it's influenced badly for our planet, and it's so beautiful and nice, and we must save it for future generation.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So it was a combination. Yes, Olena as well. So we were talking about the future, we were talking about the planets, and it was so-called the idea of global goals. I tried to explain students of 7th graders what are the global goals. And so from this topic, it was a new topic, and to make them interested, because if you say the teen, let's talk about global goals, nobody is going to talk about anything. So because it's so abstract for them, and like in this way, I try to bring them down to the ground and discuss this one, and it worked. So this, without the words, like they liked the scenery, and then we discussed Ukraine and so on. And also I asked them to analyze this video itself, because I asked them to talk about who could create, so who was the author of the video, what was the idea, like promote keeping the nature and preserving the nature. So, and it worked, because very often I'm sure you will agree that our students, they are down to earth. They don't want to discuss something like abstract things and so on, and you need to bring them to these abstract things so they could understand what is the practical use of things we do at the lesson. Let's proceed. I will do this one. I think when I share the desktop is better. And I come to my idea of expert. So I'm not sure that it's a new one, but so the idea of expert, each student is an expert of something. When I have a group of students, sometimes they may be new or they may be not new, but I don't know them well. I offer them for example, for this semester or this year, you may be an expert in something, what you like to do, maybe it's your hobby. For example, I had experts in photography, I had experts in, there was the medical kind of future doctors and so on. And every topic we studied, they not only did some media literacy analysis of some messages we were working, but they presented, so they had to do this media search from their point of view. So I mean, for example, the expert in photography, there was a girl who really became the photographer. So she started now she's studying visual arts at university, and she says that our lessons helped her to define what she's going to do. The idea, she was presenting different pictures on topics, showing the power of the picture. She was talking about this, and she showed like this helped her to define, like to do this one. Just I'm sorry, just a second, one second. Sorry, there was somebody at the door. What do you think of the idea of experts? For what students, for what age group it may work? And if you think about your students, can it work with some of your students, or it's not a good idea to work to? At what age? Let's talk about at what age is it a good idea to assign some task, because these should be, for example, if you study 4 topics in a semester, these specific students should be responsible for doing some research from time to time, like once a month or once in 2 months about the topic, but from his or her point of view. What do you think of this? Just a second. I'll make it.
Well, everybody likes to be an expert. So
Mhm.
once you've given them this role, they will
Mhm.
probably proceed getting the details and to prove that they are experts in something that will stimulate them to work.
Yeah. Do you think that we should, for example, make them like change this expertise? For example, 1 year a person is an expert in one, and the other like should give a chance
Well,
to switch.
that depends. For example, I have some student who is an expert in science. So once there is
Mhm.
some scientific thing, he would be there to make sure everything is clear, and he enjoys it. And I have another one who is expert on art. So once there is this complicated concept of some art, he will be there
Yeah, sure.
to explain it. And it stays with them. They are fine so far. However, some people can appear and claim that they also are quite proficient in this thing. Maybe we'll switch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a good idea.
Mhm. I have one more
May
idea.
I tell, sorry?
Yeah, sure. No. Yeah.
So we can discuss different topics in any ages, but the main task for the teacher is to use differentiated ways for discussing topics. So
Mhm.
according to the age.
I agree with one more idea. Like we have, I think this is the gradual process. So we need to teach our students. If you see that 12-year-old are experts in everything, of course. Plus, it's not just. I agree with Olena completely that it's not just about the 12-year-old. Now, how to say? These our new Ukrainian schools. They are experts in everything. Starting with the first grade, so they know everything, but they don't want to dig deeper. So this is like they know something, 2% or 5% of something, and they are sure that they are experts in everything. So this is a kind of idea to give them a chance to dig deeper at some point and maybe understand, not often, because I think this is the psychological thing, that they are experts in everything and they know everything, like reading one piece of something, or there is a tweet that was published by some celebrity, and they like know everything about this celebrity judging by this tweet, so they make jump to conclusions very quickly. But I think this is the feature of generation we will be working with. So they are for sure, they don't want to work harder and like do a bigger research. So we should take into account that as well, so that students may be reluctant to do something more. So, and also there should be this balance between giving them a chance to do the research and work hard, and also to listen to their opinion, which is based on nothing, maybe just based on some little thing they know about the subject. So this is the idea of experts. Sometimes it works, sometimes it's not. It can be analyzed by you and like taken into account your students. The third way, like to identify, these are general one. That's why I'm jumping and I'm looking at the time, because I see that like I'm talking. I will try to squeeze the time, because I wanted to talk about the idea of media literacy camp. If we identified how students' prior ideas about the topic, it was about the new topic, introducing the new topic, and how media literacy skills can be formed based on that. And of course, the prior ideas of students, they are based on something, and we need to give examples. Yeah, from popular media, it can be films, advertising. If they don't know anything about the new topic and work with these media messages. And also, it's a good idea to pay attention to of our students that even the same topic or issue can be treated differently. Many of them, they don't like academic way of writing articles and so on. It's difficult for them and so on. So they prefer popular media, not just maybe poetry, but something easier to perceive. And when we show, for example, two pieces, so this is the academic text and this is the text from popular media, at least they could differentiate between them, and it would be a good idea to do that. So one more idea is like clarify that if it is academic text, piece of information, there is specific languages used, and they can find these words, find these grammatical structures. The other one is to give students a project work on analyzing of parts of media messages when they will be answering these key questions like the authorship, the content, the impact, and so on. So let's proceed, because I see that just a second. So we have one more. I will stop like a few slides and then we'll go to the media literacy camp. When we talk about the process of effective media analysis, we need to remember that all media messages are constructed. So they are like a puzzle, and students like it. So sometimes they see the visuals, sometimes they see the text, sometimes they see even what's behind this text, because like the background, so it works practically. Sometimes I think that it will be difficult for my students, but actually it's even easier for them because they understand, they are constructed. And for example, each medium, I mean, if it is newspaper, internet, television, it has different characteristics and positive and like strengths and weaknesses, and the unique language of construction. So if we have a piece of news on TV and even piece of news in internet, it will the content can be different because they take into account how it is constructed. Very often media messages, they embed values and points of view, and people also, not only, for example, TV presenters, sometimes also influence how they, if we talk about the news, they add their individual skills, beliefs, and experience when they may give the comments. For example, if they present the piece of news, and now we have, with the beginning of war, that students not only listen to the news, but they may see the individual reaction to the news the TV presenters bring. How to choose your news wisely. I think I'm not going to show that one. I will send you this presentation because it's I have shorter video about that. You will be able to watch. I have one question. Do you employ the opportunities of TED Talks or TED Ed, which is shorter, much shorter? It's videos of from 3 to 5 minutes, and which are educational. I will show you how it looks like. Like, why it doesn't work this way? Just a second. This one. No, 1 sec. So this one. Am I showing, like, can you see? Do you have? So this is the TED Ed. It's a different subdivision of TED, because there you have longer talks, and they're just maybe for listening, not for educational purpose. There is something, I use it. Okay, yeah, good. Olena, what age group do you use TED Talks with? Like, are they older? Are they younger? Teens? Like,
I use it with my 10 formers and 11 formers.
Does it work? Like, do you see that there is the impact, the good one, bad one?
They like it. Yeah, they like it. It's okay with them.
Okay, so the TED Ed, it's a kind of shorter version of the general TED, and you can see, so here we have the watch, think, dig deeper and discuss, and when you can put the subtitles if you have like weaker students, but the idea is great one because they listen to the ideas and they maybe in time they will be able to build their opinion based on the ideas, not one idea but several ideas they received. That's why it's a great idea to use TED Ed, like starting with TED Ed and then TED Talk as a bigger one. So it was about the process, yeah, analyzing the concept media analysis. The sixth tool, I will make it faster. We not tool but the way of implementing. It's the use media as a standard pedagogical tool. I started with the general ideas about the working with media literacy skills and so on, but we can go down to something specific. If you, for example, if you study food and restaurants, so it can be even a small project or individual project about restaurant menus to explore stereotypes, or it will be some kind of research of the language, what language is used. Still, all of these will be media literacy skills, and this will be the way you teach media literacy to your students. If you give, and it works well with the written work, it's a good idea to, it can be like ask your students to design their written work as it is the chapter of the textbook, or work with the headlines, sub-headlines, illustrations, sidebar charts. So it can be different one, but trying to weave media literacy as the pedagogical tool instead of any stage of your lesson plan, it would be a good idea. Like you will be working on media literacy skills, not going far from your main topic or the topic you study. So this is the way you embed media literacy to our curricula and the topics you study. One more idea is to identify sources of erroneous beliefs about a topic. It's quite, I wouldn't say it's quite difficult, but it's not easy, because when we give assignment to our students to do the search, even on some topic, they often, so they don't go deeper, and it can be, for example, if they Google it, they choose the first 2-3 points, so they don't go deeper and check a few sources. That's why it's a good idea to show that it's about, like, it's a work with fake news, so how to spot the fake news. And I would like to show you this video about it. It's very short one, so we have, is there the sound?
Here are 5.
Is there this the sound?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, good.
Is to spot fake news. Number 1, look for unusual URLs. If they end with .lo or .com.co, chances are they aren't legitimate news sites. Number 2, dissect the layout. Look for grammatical errors, incorrect dates, bold claims with no sources, and sensationalist images. These are all red flags. Number 3, dig deeper. Find out who wrote the article and who supports the site. If this information doesn't exist, or you need to register to get it, then question why. Number 4, cross-check. Use fact-checking sites to confirm information and see whether other credible news outlets are reporting similar news. Number 5, try a where the same picture appears in unrelated stories, you may have a reason to be suspicious. For more media literacy tips, visit us at comments.
Okay, so these were like the short one, the ideas you can show these ways, like this video, short video about how to spot fake news or any other. So it shouldn't be a long one for students to understand the idea, but show them that if they want to find a credible source of news, not very often. So here are the tips how to do it. So not to be hooked with some fake news or the news that influence your opinion or just manipulate your opinion. So it was about that. And what practically we did with our students, it was about debunking. So we created really fake, this is a like fun activity to create a fake piece of news, and then the other students, so it was a group work in a group, one group created this message, and the other group had to debunk this message and tell what was like fake about it. They really like it, and all of them participated during the camp because maybe this is the process of creating it. Some of the students were very skillful because some of them exaggerated so much that it was clear that it is the fake news. Some used more misinformation, so they omitted some information and it was difficult to guess or to explain what was debunk message, but still this is a great activity to do. So for example, you can give original message which comes from a credible source of news or like credible news, and then ask them what can be changed because all the media messages are constructed, and in which way other people may be manipulated. Next one, about sixth way, it's about develop an awareness of issue of credibility. I told that what sources can we trust, how many sources it's a good idea to read to come to some conclusions. And here I'm going to show a short one. This is about the credibility of the source. This is a good chart. So should I use these resources? And it is said, like, people believe that evaluation reminders and strategies, there are no the resources, there are no 100% good or 100% bad. So most of lies in between. That's why when students, or when you teach your students to evaluate the credibility of the source, you may use different approaches. For example, if the source isn't very current, it means like when it was published, like the 31st of February, there is no such date at all. So make sure that the other sources you use are current. Use very сучасні, найостанніші новини if you need to do that, like, I mean, or the author isn't an expert. Sometimes the information, manipulated information, vice versa, uses a lot of experts, and it should be a sign that something is wrong because all the information is like opinion of experts, and why do they do it? So you can do like, if we check the credibility, it can be back up your facts with other sources written by experts, or it may be if you have a time with your students to discuss like the idea of experts, we can discuss, should we trust the experts or not in general, like, and in which what sources we should look. Maybe it will be some institutions which really don't have any kind of controversial maybe reputation and so on, and the source is biased. So I have heard some presenters before talking about biases and the stereotypes, and if the source is biased, so we need to analyze it at least from 2 or 3 sides, so to come up with some conclusion. And like the most important thing we need to talk about if we talk about credibility, it's about collectively. So we can't say if the source is credible or not based only on one conclusion, like not conclusion, but I mean based on one source we have. We need to have 1, 2, 3 sources which help you to do that. But it's completely different because it's a huge topic about credibility of the sources. It's a completely separate, like it can be a separate training about how to work with the credibility of the sources. So I'm not going to stop here for long because it can be something different. Let's proceed. It can be the topic for any, like, a different presentation. We have discussed this one, like I will try to do it even quicker. It's about also compare the ways different media present information by the topic. Now, I don't think with the start of war, I see even when we had online learning with our students, they, even the 5th and 6th graders, they said that different channels present the topic differently, and that's good. They see that. So there are different perspective and so on. And sometimes there is no need to work on this. So what was emphasized, what was left out, and so on. We can also work with students, like analyzing different conclusions. We can ask students produce reports about the topic when we use, but it can be done with the older students about the manipulating the same information and visuals to convey the message. So it will be like when you analyze and your students are able to do this, analyzing the message. The one more ace way of integrating, it's about historical or cultural background, which is behind the message, media message. And if you work with students, I'm not sure that this year it was possible to do, but Мала академія наук, так? Тобто в цьому випадку можна використати багато ідей, які стосуються історичного фону і культурного фону. Це може бути окремою темою дослідження для дітей, і це досить цікаво, бо teaching the language and learning the language can't be done without historic background and cultural background and many things. This cultural background influences even the use of phrases, functional language, and so on in different situations. Even with students now know definitely about the British peculiarities and American peculiarities and many others. So this one I'm not going to stop for a long time. One more way, build and practice specific curricular skills. We have the demands of curricula, and when we work on media literacy skills, we can also at the same time simultaneously practice reading and comprehension skills. When we analyze text, we can work with grammar and do some writing research, develop writing skills. And also it's a good one activity we had during the summer camp. It was collect statistical data by doing the survey of the family about their media use or preferences. There even already made templates in which you can, so you write the name and you ask your parents like what media they trust, how often they watch the TV. There's this wheel of what media to use, how and when we calculated the amount of hours we were using telephone, internet, TV, and it turned out like we are doing it almost 24 hours a day. So, and students agree that they spend too much time online, and even if it is not active use, but still they may be doing something like listening. Some of them listen to news, some of them chatting online in social media and so on. So if we talk about curricular skills, of course we can build it in cooperate in media literacy sphere as well. One, like to more facilitate the use of range of media formats. This I have discussed, so it depends on what your students like to work with, video games or newspaper or digital newspaper or social media, and it depends on how big the media message should be. So if it is younger kids, it can be a shorter message, but we will pay attention to this and this. If it is older, they can use something like, for example, I have been having blog for like 4 years, I believe, and I started it just for my students to develop writing skills. So I was giving them a comment in the blog. At first, it was like a picture and 2 sentences or questions with the specific, so they could answer specifically. And after this, it was even just the picture and they were commenting, and we started with 2 or 3 sentences. After this, some of them were leaving comments up to 6 sentences, and even they didn't notice it, that they are writing spread, like, and it wasn't the problem for them to do that. Okay, 2 more. So when we use media as an assessment tool, it is also possible to use media as an assessment tool. No, of course, assessment is not the aim of every lesson, but still, when we ask, what do you know, it's a good idea to ask, where did you get your information or ideas? If you like, what are your sources? If you know that your students can answer these questions, like, that's great. This is the vivid prove that your students analyze where they take information from. Or after asking, what do you want to learn? We may ask, where are you likely to find credible sources? If they may answer, could you answer like your questions and so on? And what did you learn? Like which sources were the most helpful? What was the basis for your research and so on? The last one, it was like something bigger, from the classroom to community. So connect students to the community and work hard to, like, towards positive change. Of course, media literacy, if we take a whole, it's something big and something we need to break it into pieces, and you have to be, as a teacher, comfortable to take something and step by step doing, like, as I said, baby steps. Not every lesson, it can be once a week, once a month, but on some regular basis, your students will learn not only about fake news, they will learn how to analyze media messages, they will learn, like, all these skills will be helpful for them if they go to college, and it will be helpful for them to do their research on different, not just on media literacy. I like these ideas about finding collaborative possibilities for project with community institution. In Zhytomyr, we have the Space Museum, and the idea was to make the promotion of the museum. And last year, our students created a kind of leaflet with QR codes. So they coded information about museum, and they said that teenagers will like the idea because they like, it was kind of quest to do that. So it was a project work, and they really like to cooperate with our local museum. Some of the students who participated in very verified course, and there were some lectures about misinformation, disinformation. So there were 5, I believe, or 6 seminars. And after this, like my 10th graders, they worked with 5th graders. And so the older students taught production techniques or media literacy principle to younger students. And sometimes it also worked well because like they worked not with the teacher, but kind of with older friend who helped them, and they felt open and so on. So it also worked. The idea of when students become teachers themselves, they learn the topic more, and they can like present it in their own way. So you see like kind of their background. So I will do quick. I switched, yeah. We have media literacy camp. I will do it very quickly. The idea was, so our motto was to develop our 4 C's: creativity, communication, critical thinking, collaboration. So we try to do it. The idea of summer camp, so you need to choose your target audience. I mean, people who, okay, thank you. People who, not people, but students you're going to work with, and then choose the topics on media literacy that will be relevant to this age group. For example, if it is students of 5th grade, of course, it should be something very easy and practical. If it is students of 10th grade or 11th grade, they can do different tasks and so on. We created camp rules. There were camp rules. We created camp expectations, and we were working. So we had some issues. The first day we used the Bitmoji. It was the combination of media literacy and ICT camp, and we created this, and we try to talk about the privacy of people in social media, and it's a good idea to substitute your picture with the avatar. They agreed to this, so these were like they were creating, presenting. The camp was 10 days, like 2 weeks, but 10 working days, and it was quite interesting because the activities, they discussed many things about, like we were talking about 6 types of media content in media. These were the materials from very verified course. You could take fact or opinion, and there was my media log and group discussion. It's about how much time do they spend online. different kinds of media messages. And there were many kind of small project works created and so on, but they even didn't like, it was so easy. It was done so easy. For example, fake news and when we had one day fake news and journalistic standards, we invited the journalists, and it was a great, exciting talk where they put the question to this journalist. I'm sure that even now you can invite some journalists who you know, like how they work during the war. It's one of the ideas how it can be used. And one of the activities was always done outside. So now it's like, there were used like different collaboration on the Padlet project. And for 10 days, we chose 5 media literacy kind of topics, combined them with ICT, or like presenting the Padlet, presenting Kahoot, and so on, and making them interested in that. And it was good one because the students, this model was used after we did it. This model of summer media literacy camp was used by other schools, teachers from other schools, because of the feedback of our students, that they like it. It was interesting, they collaborated, they didn't feel like they wanted to share. We were creating TikTok videos, like promoting favorite bands and so on. Also social media, traditional media was discussed. And after this, in the end, we but we created, I'm not sure there is one. So as you can see, we created such kind of certificates. They were very happy to get these certificates because it also kind of recognition of their work. And it was like graduation day 10. We discussed everything. Day number 10, discussed everything, and it was the graduation day. So if you have, I will send you this, and like to have the idea of what is media literacy camp. Okay, thank you for your attention, because 2 minutes, sorry.